All right, y'all, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Systematic Investing. And today we're going to be talking about the upcoming IPO literally tomorrow. Right now it's about 5 p.m. on Wednesday. It's going to be FIGMA, FIGMA, ticker symbol FIG. So before we go into anything further, the information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. This content should not be considered financial or investment advice. Always do your own research. Consult with a licensed professional before making any investment decisions, and all investments involve risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results. And always do your own research, or you're going to guarantee lose money over time. So your decision, not mine, but do your own research. All right, so Figma. So first off, before we get anything else with Figma, to find any information, if you just Google Figma and try to find each individual thing, nothing's going to come up. You need to find the S1 filing, which I will drop a link in the description there, and you'll see financials, business model, product offering, the management, who runs it, their history of the whole company, revenue figures over time, different financial figures. Like that's everything you need to find is going to be right there. And so what they do, kind of in a nutshell, is they operate a platform designed or used for designing and launching digital products. It allows technical and non-technical users to collaborate together and work together remotely. And like I said, would heavily recommend checking out the S1 to get a better grasp on that. But more or less, it's kind of like platform. You have person here, person here, person here, person here, person here, all working on the same thing. They kind of put their input together, use different graphic design tools, AI tools, and a few different things. They kind of make their product. Once they have the concept of their product, the Figma also kind of has a little portal sort of thing that can help them all turn it into a product by writing code, getting everything going, help launching the product, and then boom, get it out. So huge, huge value to whoever uses it, honestly. Most of it's honestly, I see the use case for enterprises. You get 25 different people working on a creative project. It kind of helps them all collaborate together, gives them all tools they need in order to build what they're trying to do. And so, like I said, organizations is big for them. 70% comes from organizations, 30% from individuals. And obviously, the enterprise is going to have more upside because of net dollar retention. If you're like, oh, I like Figma a lot, you can just buy more Figma for your enterprise. Figma doesn't have to do any selling, the product sells itself at that point. And so, just a little couple financial figures here. So, for the 3 months ending March 31st, 2025, as you see right down here, so they had 46% year-over-year revenue growth, 132% net dollar retention rate, and 18% non-GAAP operating margin. So net dollar retention rate, for anybody not familiar, so 100% would mean that every customer you had in the previous year spent the exact same amount of money. 132% is this customers that you had last year spent what they spent last year plus 32%. So they're getting 32% revenue growth just from existing customers, which is giant. I mean, that's huge because you don't have to waste all your time trying to get new customers. It doesn't rely on you getting new customers. With their freemium model, as they call it, you don't have to, you don't have to always be selling, 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 selling. Obviously, selling's great, but you can when you check on that one, you'll see they work with 95% of the Fortune 500. They have the customers they need. At this point, it's expanding offerings within their customer base to get more revenue. And yeah, if they can just continue to increase per customer spend, it's going to be giant for them going forward. So we'll just go over a couple of financials here. So the income statement. So what I'm really focused on is here, the difference between 3 months ended March 31st. If you look in this year ended 2023 and 2024, you'll notice in the operating expenses area, the operating expenses are huge and they don't really line up to what they do quarter to quarter. That's because on their S1 it said somewhere, honestly cannot recall where, that they had some stock-based compensation related expenses, and that's where that shows up. And they're one-time, like one-off things, so it kind of messes up that whole 2024 kind of deal there, and clearly doesn't reflect in first quarter 2024. But for first quarter 2025, we got 228 million in revenue, and here's the cool part: over 90% gross margins. Cost of revenue of 19 million on 228, so you're still left with 208 million gross profit. They're spending they're spending 70, right about 70 million on R&D, 70 million on sales marketing, and then G&A of 30, which is really good. G&A of 30 for doing almost $1 billion. Sorry, well, 30 million a quarter G&A for doing, 228 million in revenue is really good. And then that leaves us with total operating expense of 170, and then operational income of about 40 million, which is fantastic. And then the net income of $44.882 million per quarter, by the way. And with that 46% revenue growth, I mean, they went from 13 million in quarter one 2024 to 44 in 2025. So that's about 3x. So, I mean, when you have over a double in net income you're over doubling your net income. I mean, that's going to give you a really high multiple to trade off of due to the fact that your growth is just insane. It keeps your peg really low when you have those high multiples. And then balance sheet, I mean, it gets even better right here. We have 1.5 billion in cash equivalents, marketable securities, probably a lot of treasuries on there, I suspect. Then 1.2 in working capital, total assets of 1.9, zero debt, people, zero debt. I mean, let's just enjoy that for a second. Look at that. Just don't even have to write a number there. It's downright freaking beautiful. It just gets me going when you see no debt because say they want to acquire some company for 4 billion, they can easily use one of theirs and then borrow three, and they're still in a great spot. But but there's even a caveat to this. Um, for their cash, once they do this IPO, they're going to be raising a couple $1 billion. So they're going to be at $3 to $4 billion in cash after IPO in this next upcoming quarter with zero debts. I mean, they're in a position to invest billions of dollars without really taking any hit to their, financial safety net or anything. I mean, they're in a gorgeous position financially. And then so we'll go through a little valuation here. So 46% for 2024. For 2025, I'm just going to assume 40 just because keep it low. They did 46 in the last quarter. I obviously think they can keep doing that when you have 132% NDR. But, 40, 40, 40, 37, 35, 30, 30. So kind of a slow decrease in sales growth over time. I assume they get their net margin up to 28%. I mean, their net margin was 228. I mean, their net margin is pushing 20% in this last quarter. So totally reasonable for them to expand margins, especially when you have 90% gross margins. And then over down here, you got a forward multiple about 50 and shares outstanding, slight expansion out to 250 million. And that'll give us a price target about $360 and discount rate of 25. That'll push us about 118 for thou for the earnings approach. And for 2031 revenue, we got 6.4 over here. Forward price sales 12. Same deal with the shares outstanding. Then we got 308, 101. That brings our average price target right now to $109, which versus our current expected IPO price of $32. That's about 200 some percent upside. So huge upside in this IPO, guys. I mean, this thing is coming out the gate undervalued, but realistically, this is how I'm going to play it. I wasn't even able to pre-order. I used WeBull. They didn't have it, unfortunately. It sucks. But I'm going to get in at any price under $50. I'm shedding off 40% if we get to $100 within 10 trading days. Sell all if we get to $150 within 2 months post IPO. And the rest I'm going to hold long term. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. Should come out sometime between 9:30 and noon. So we're going to see what happens, and I'll see you all there. Bless.